Hello, hi everyone. A very good morning. I can see people already chatting in it. Right. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today again for this wonderful tech camp. Allow me to just pull up my screen once. Okay. Thank you so much for joining us for the second session of the Hack2skill Tech Camp Generative AI Christmas Edition 2024 itself. We will be diving in hands on today in this workshop, and I hope a lot of people have already joined the previous session that we had yesterday with Vinay, one of the founding members of NYX. And it was really interesting to know his thought process, his insights on generative AI. He has been one of the veterans working into that domain itself, and today we will be also joined by one of the experts from the domain itself, and would learn on top of Google AI Studio different things, different to techniques. How can you actually use generative AI in your day-to-day life? How can you actually make it more accurate in terms of what are you expecting out of the generative AI model itself? So we are today joined here with Pratik Verma. Pratik, if you can just hop onto the screen. Great. So we have Pratik Verma right here. Pratik Verma works as a multimodal, he handles multi-domain integrations at Hack2skill, and he has been exceptional in whatever he has been doing. So he'll be guiding us for the Google AI Studio today. Pratik, why don't you go ahead, introduce yourself, give us a background check, and maybe then get started. The stage is all yours.
Sure. Thank you, Sakti, for the warm welcome. And hello, everyone who also is joining us today in this session. And I'd like to welcome all of you who have joined from everywhere from campus or working professional, whosoever is joining today to learn more about GenAI and its uses with use of AI Studio. Now, all of you must have heard about AI Studio and what is it, but mostly we stick to the Gemini, which is a pre-trained model for us, and we tend to use our day-to-day lifestyle with already trained model, that is the Gemini. But what if I tell you that you can customize all the responses that you get? You do not have to write all the prompts that you do, and you can also have control on your results. For example, maybe sometimes you may have noticed that the same prompt that you give on day one to Gemini, it may give the other result on day five if you give the same prompt. Why is that happening? Because Gemini does not have all the controls exposed to you to have it controlled by yourself. But in Google AI Studio, you have everything in your hand, and you can control each and everything. So we will be learning more in depth about Google's AI Studio and how to use it, what are the features that it offers, and many more things. And we will also demonstrate you with what its capabilities are. So in today's session, we will mostly be focusing on. I will just pull out my screen. Yeah. So you all must have seen this window. If you have not, let me just pull out the link. You can search Google AI Studio on Google, and it will give you a link, something like this. I'm just dropping it in the chat. Yeah, I have dropped it in the chat. If anyone of you wants to visit it, you can directly move on to have a hands-on experience by yourself and not stick to whatever I say. So if you head to that link, and if you are already logged in via your Gmail account, or if you are not, you will have to log in to access this page. Now, after you have logged in, you will land on this screen where you will see multiple options which you have never been introduced to while you use Gemini. For example, you will see system instructions, you will see models, you will see temperature, you will see tools, you will see advanced system, and on the left hand side, you will see multiple more new options which you might have heard, but you may have not used it. For example, there on the main screen itself, you will see core optimizer. What does it mean? That if you use this model of GenAI Studio, it will be highly trained on the data that is already have with Google to optimize your code. But if you ask certain things, other things other than the code, it will give you answer, but it will not be 100% accurate. So each and every models or each and every prompt that you give is under your control, that how you want this model to behave. So further on, we will be going each and every section of this. For example, on the left hand side, what all of those little sections are. Then on the center of the screen, what this does, and then right of hand of the screen where the settings are introduced. Then what are those settings and how you can control and manipulate your outcomes, right? So for that, we will just start with the left hand section, and we will just go to this. And then here you will see first option is get API key. Now, if you are already an active developer and you know a little bit about API key, then this is the button that you will need to get a secret code if you want this model, this whole model to be used as a model in your code base. If whatever you build over here, you will be able to use it in your project itself directly. And for that, Google already have a documented website for you, how to implement it, how to import the system, or how to manipulate or get the response from the server. Everything is documented for you. You just need to create an API key for getting started, and then you can simply apply it and you can just start using it. Now, the first option is create prompt. Why this is saying a create prompt is because here only you will be able to give instructions to your LLM model that is already over here. But for now, this model is completely having a blank mind. If whatever you say, it will perform. But if you add certain instructions, then it will follow your instructions as well. I will be talking about more about instructions in later, but once we go all over this left hand menu. Now, moving on to the stream real time, what this Gemini model does is you can interact live with this. You can have a mic on, you can talk to it. Whatever you speak, it will record, then it will think, and then it will revert back. This is what the real time model does. You can also have a video, and you can also share your screen. Whatever you think, you can always do it. And then you can also have a app built on this with the same model. Then there will become a tuner model. Now what does this tuner model does is it will make a specific model only for you, whatever structure that you want, whatever data source that you have, and whatever model that you want to use. Now over here, the main uh, point that you need to have an idea about is data source, because whenever you are making a LLM model, it does not have to have only 10 data sets or 20 data sets, because that much data set will not be able to give you a 100% accurate result. But that is not even a perfect LLM model can do. But at least to achieve a 90% accuracy, you will have to have millions of data sets with you, or if not millions, then at least 100K 200K data set, so that the LLM model can reference those data in order to generate a response. So data sets is always important. If you have certain friends with you who have already worked upon AI model, the ML models of in the college projects or anything, then you can ask with them that how they have built the ML model and what are the data sets that they gave. And also you can ask them that they must have exhausted 10 or 20 hours of their day to just train that model on the same uh, data that they have prepared, gathered, and then they have reduced it to that ML, and then that ML will further on go ahead train itself that okay, this is a cat picture, this is a dog picture, and then if third person ask with any other images, then it will recognize that okay, this is the focal point, this is the point that our dog should have nose or eyes or whatever the shape is. Then that ML model tells you what the dog looks like. In the similar way, if you want your LLM model to experience the same data and give a results on the same lines, then you can have data set of your own type, and then it will only be giving you answers on your own. Okay, I can see someone asking some interesting question in the chat. I will address to you. Okay, so for now, let's talk about data source. So if you keep your data set accurately, then the model that you train will always have accurate data response to you, whatever you ask. So you can create your own tuning model over here. Then comes the library. What library will do is it will have all the prompts that you have created as a list. For example, you may have created certain chats. For example, one chat you may have asked it for finding you all the websites that where you can find free courses, or on the other hand, other chat you will may have asked that to generate you some content on certain history projects or something else. So all of those prompts will be saved over here, and I highly recommend you to have different chats for different purposes. If you mix those, then the LLM model itself will get confused at what this person wants and how I should reply. In that case, you will be getting frustrated saying that I asked you this question and then this is giving me certain something else answer. So that's when the problem happens. If you mix and merge two chats in single one, to get a proper response, I highly recommend you to have different chats for all your purposes. Now comes the most powerful and most important thing of Google AI Studio is prompt gallery. Over here, lots of queries and prompts are already made for you. All the systems are made for you just to click and use it. So over here, you will see these many prompts already pre-baked for you just to click and use. And these are already instructed for them to be giving a response according to their instructions. So if I click on sentiment check, it will ask you certain questions, and based on that, it will give you a response. And if I ask certain history question with to sentiment check, then it will give a random response that is not maybe not a valid. So then you will have to refer to that particular model. So these are the pre-made model from Google AI Studio team, and you can always use it. You can also write Santa's mailbox as well over here, as the Christmas is around the corner. Now, I already have covered all the important aspects. Now, I was already talking to you about API and its uses, right? So over here, you will see API documentation. As I told you that they already have prepared and have all the steps mentioned for you to use it directly in your project. You can generate API key and then you can directly use it in your project, whatever you train over here. Now, let's get back to create prompt and let's understand what the center of this screen means. Then I will move on to the right hand side and it will be very playful thing over here. Let's talk about this. Now, coming to the system instructions, what we understand from this. So, uh, the system instruction is your best friend to tell the LLM model that how you want this this LLM model to behave, or what are the things that you want this LLM model to keep in mind whenever it is generating a response. For example, if I tell this LLM model to act as a historical person or historical guy who have been researching for years of his experience, and then if I ask him certain questions, it will be acting as a historical person and then give me answers on those lines. If I ask this LLM model in instructions to act as a uh, social media influencer, then it will be able to give those lines of answer, and it will be able to act as a social media media influencer itself, and then share you all the information. If you specify certain things, for example, you can act as a social media influencer, you have 10 years of experience, you have been in this field for xyz days, and then your specialty is xyz things, then it will be able to instruct you with that particular thing. So system selection is very important if you want your LLM model to be specific and precise in certain topics. And with that, you will have a complete control on your generated responses with your own instructions provided. But if you do the same thing in Gemini, you will not have the control over yourself, and then you will have to specify in each messages that you will have to act as a AI influencer who have this many years of experiences, and this is my question now, and then you can have a discussion back and forth. But if you specify all the things in the instructions beforehand, it will ask you the same questions before, and then it will start answering whatever it has as a LLM model in the data sets. So it will only filter out those data from the data set of its repository and then give you response. It's not going to be fetching each and every random data and then give you the response. If you, it is just like the narrowing down the LLM model's data source, so that you can specifically use those particular data source that you only want to be using. But if you do not provide any instructions and you go ahead and type in random words, then it will have a broader area to cover and broader data sets. For example, if Google have hundreds of millions of data and you just go and type certain things, it will refer all the 100 millions randomly. It's not going to refer 100 millions of data at once. It's going to be randomly picking certain topics, and then it will give you the answers. But if you run the same command again, then it will then again randomly pick certain topics and then give you the response. So you may see that sometimes the response may start with the same sentence, but at the coming to the end, it may change itself. That's the when you will see that okay, this is referring something else, and what it gave me at first, it's not giving me same response in the second part. That's when you have to narrow down your data source and then do it. So that's how you have this system instructions in place. And over here you can always have whatever prompt that you want to type here, and then you can simply run it, right? So this is what middle screen looks like, and over here your all the chats will be appearing. And now let's move on to the most interesting section of the AI Studio, that is this section, the left hand side, where all the settings are present, and you will see multiple things that you might not have been talked about or told about. Maybe the models, what this model top down contains, what the token is, what the temperature means. It's not more than one, then what that this temperature mean actually, then the structure of these tools, and then on the end the advanced settings. Okay, so let's get started with model first. So if I click on model, you will see multiple options over here. And in Gemini, you do not have this freedom to go ahead and use it. So over here, you will have a freedom of using Gemini 1.5 Pro, Gemini 1.5 Flash. You can also use Gemini 1.5 Flash 8B, and then these are the experimental model that just launched from Google's team, but these are not accessible to you on Gemini. But oh, you can always access them over here. 2.0 is the latest version of Gemini, and you can directly use it over here without any cost or anything, and you will have everything answered for you with this model itself. Same goes for Gemini's experimental model 1206, and then there is Gemini 2.0 flash thinking experimental. So these are many more models that Google keeps on introducing, keeps on experimenting, and keeps on having feedbacks from our side that how this LM model performed, how this was behaving, if you got your answer, how satisfactory it was, if you do not have received your answer, what you were expecting. And on those feedbacks, Google keeps on improving itself and keep experimenting with all the new features. And you can always test it out over here even before the Gemini introduces itself in its own thinking. So this is a playground that you can go and have a look, and you can test everything out over here. So this is all about the model tab that you have. You can always choose any model that you want. You are free to use it. If you visit the link that I have given in the chat, you will have your own chat screen like this, and you can always choose whatever you want. I have, for now I'm using 2.0 flash experimental. Now going down, you will see tokens. No, this is not a price or anything. This is the token introduces for whatever chat that you are having. For example, if I say, if I send a text to it, then it will always give me a response. Now you will see that token increased to 50, right? What this token includes is this text response. Now I sent a text, then they gave me a text. Then this whole chat that you see, these all are worth 250 tokens. And at max, you can have 1 million tokens in your chat. So for reference, that I will say that your one-time chatting history, with LLM model to get interactions and have a better understanding of it, and get the precise result, you can only have these many tokens at once. After that, you do not will not be able to get responses, because this will exhaust your quota, and then you will have to start a new library chat. So do not worry about that. There is no limit for that or anything in those lines. And for now, what, as you can see, I asked it for the weather in Delhi, and he was not able to precisely get it, because it's change it very quickly according to him. But if I may have introduced him that you can use this AccuWeather, or you can use certain website for reference, maybe it would have been maybe it would have been giving me a better results, right? So how we can do that? What are the things that things can be controlled, or what are the things that we have to keep in mind while we are asking? So that's when the system instructions come in play. So if I say him that act as and now if I delete these tokens, and now if I ask, so you can see, and it started with in a tone, Indian history, a wide brief. So I told him that you can act as a historic person which have 30 years of experience, and I never specified whatever things that he need to be acting on, or whatever things that he can do. And I just said that, tell me a brief about Indian history, and then you can see the response it has. It started with like a person himself, and then he started with all the details that you can see over here. And now you can see I have this 845 tokens with me for whole chat, and I have these many responses still present, obviously. and after that India independence and everything else over here. So this is how you can talk with all the models that you have in hand, and then you can have a response according to yourself. But now you will say that okay, that's all about tokens, but what this temperature is, will it be able to make any changes? Then yes, the what temperature does is it basically controls how your LLM model should be responding to your content. So the lower the temperature is, the factual the data is, and it will not have certain randomization to it. But if you increase the temperature, randomization I mean to refer is the creativity. So if you increase the temperature, it will act as a creative person, not a factual person. So for example, if I tell him that if I lower the temperature to zero point 0.2 maybe, and I run the prompt again, so you can see it is not as structured as it was before, right? And it is not giving the same responses, but it is acting at the historical. So the tones are still the same, but it is not giving being so creative now. It's just giving a textual knowledge, and it's just in the same format. But if I give the temperature quite a bit high, quite a bit high, like too directly, and then I again run the same model, then you will see a detailed data, and now you will see exclamation as well, because it is going too much into depth and it is going to be creative. And what this exclamation mean is it is having this. So there are some safety measures in play over here in LLM model, but in Gemini it basically filters it out and will not give any responses on those lines if it contains certain hate speech or any non like clear instructions results, then it will just bypass it and will not give you the result. But over here you can always get a result, but it will have an exclamation saying that this may contain some hate speech and content not permitted, right? So these are the things that this temperature does, and it basically controls what and how you want your LLM model to be. So by default, whenever you visit this page, you will have this at 1, because that is the most balanced structure for LLM models, that it should not be too much creative or it should not be leaning towards the factual format. It should be in the middle. But if you want it to be factual and straightforward, then drop down the temperature. But if you want it to be creative and it should be more diverse and think broader and have multiple opinions towards it, then you can have temperature as high as you want. I just gave you a demonstration as 2, but if you want, you can always have 1.3, 1.5, or whatever you want it to be. I'll just study down to 1. Okay, so that was all about temperature and how does it affect your all the results over here, and then all these things. Now talking about tools. So as you can see now is a textual report, right? That I asked him a question and he gave me a textual formatted answer. Okay, but what this structured output do? Let's find it out. So I will just again delete this. Then I will turn this on, the structural format. I'm just turning this on, right? And I will again run the same thing. Now you will see it gave me a code format result. How cool is that? You do not have to go back, send API key, log it out that what are the variables that you have to print in the chat box UI, and then print the messages. You can always see these variables directly. That okay, this is the title that it gives, this is the era, this is the name of that particular things, and that is this is the duration, right? So all the variables that you see over here are already detailed for you. If you are a developer, you can already understand this is a JSON file, and you can have this with you and understand how the API is responding from Google team. And also You have other things like code execution, functional calling, grounding. All of these are the technical aspects and which you can have. And if let's say that how does code execution works, right? So I will just delete it. I will delete this as well. Now if I go and run the same part, then it will keep on running until and unless it has a particular result from itself. Now you will see it ran this particular query in this LLM model, and then it comes to a particular specific thing that okay, what do you specifically term as brief, what do you exactly want. It will be more curious towards you. So it gets quite a bit of randomized answers from for you from this whole tab. You can have a great experience if you start using it, and it will give you a more, and I will say vast variety of freedoms to you. Because if you use a pre-trained models like Gemini or ChatGPT, whatever you are using these days, they are already trained, they are already have those temperatures set to it, they are already having these models already tucked down to his memory that you have to give a chat response, or you do not have to deviate from the topic, or these are the temperatures that you have, these are the models that you have to use. But over here you have all the freedom that you want. You can always change the model, you can always adjust the temperature, you can always change the response. Sometimes what you can see in the Gemini that if you ask for certain code and structure, it gives you the structure sometimes, like it types you that particular code snippet. But sometimes what it does is it does not give you the snippet, it just explains you the code. That is a randomized thing that you will have. But if from this you will have exact response in all the format if you change this instructions itself, that saying always give me a code snippet whatever I ask you for this, and whatever I give you the questions for, always give me a structured code format answer, and it will give it to you. So these are the most important and freedom thing that you will get. And then coming down to these advanced safety measures, that you will always have an option to block this word, that do not allow anything, block a few, block some, block all of them, or block none. So you will have these many things to be having your control. As I told you that by default in all the LLM models, it is always set to this block sum. By default, this is what they gave us, that block some, but they sometime give you certain result that you might get surprised of. But mostly it's in between some or block the most. So you can always return to zero if you are having any research thing or any referencing to any doc. You can always control these kind of things, and you can have your result as per whatever you can see over here. Then comes all these output length that you want it to be. It said that 8102 maximum tokens that it can give an output. So for example, I told you that, right? These are the tokens. These all the text is a token. Now whatever I ask over here, if I tell him to write a story or write him an essay, then it will only give me this textual length in the certain part, that only these many tokens will be used. Nothing, not a single text apart from this output thing will be used in the generation. Okay, so these are the things that you will be able to find. And now if I come to top p, what this top p is. So whenever we are asking certain questions to LLM model, it not only goes to its database and just particularly give the data, but it also gets a randomized probability to it, that what are the potential chances of how I can tell a story to this person. For example, we do not want that I ask you a question, you give me answer. How about if I ask you a question and you frame it in certain way that it sounds like a conversation and it sounds like a storytelling. This is what top p does. So what top p is, that how interactive or diverse or most connected, like humanized thing that you want this model to be. So by default it is on 0.95, because that's how you can see these responses, that it is like chatting with a person. It acts like a person, that okay, I am sending a message, then the person is asking me certain things, then I will go ahead and read these. Okay, this person wants me to answer these certain things, and then I can give it back to him that okay, these are the things that I want. So it comes like a conversation. So that is how top P works. If you drop it down, you will have zero amount of conversational thing, and it will just throw out you the result, or you can have a conversation with the AI. So these are the main topics that I wanted to give you, and these are all the instructions and everything that you have to have in order to understand the LLM model. I will just quickly clear my library, and I want to demonstrate to you a bonus part for you. I just have stored, and to give you a glimpse at how what are the capabilities of this whole AI studio is. But before that, let's go ahead and see what are the chats we have. Okay, so let's scroll up. Is it okay to create project with the help of AI during interview? As I think. Okay, so creative of infinity. This is the common question that people have in mind, that whenever I get a project that they want to give me a task that they want it to be completed, but it's they are not stopping you from anything that you have to do on your own. You do not have to use Stack Overflow or anything. If you use Stack Overflow itself, you are also using external source, right? So it's not about using external source is bad, or you cannot reference to something, but make sure that you understand what you are building. If you go ahead, copy a code from Stack Overflow, and your project runs it, wow, well, you have passed the test case, you have completed the course. But what now? Did you understand the logic? Did you understand what it was meant to be? What the person wanted you to understand it for? That he wanted to understand you the logic of the question. He wanted to understand how you are thinking, what are the your approach. And even if you copy a code from somewhere, you have to have a reference that what this code actually does. You have to be curious about it. It's not a bad thing that you can refer a code from Stack Overflow. You can copy paste codes from there are multiple websites like code sandbox. There are multiple websites where you can always find a code. But the main base is that you have to be very friendly with all the concept that you have, all the logics that you it requires to build. Because if you may solve a query today, but what if the same query arises some other day, and you have to quickly fix it? You do not will not have a time. But if you reference the code, you have all the understanding that this is how this works. Okay, I will keep in mind in the next time that I do. For now I can use this. So you have to always make sure that whatever you are using from other sites, or maybe AI, you understand everything end to end. If not, ask the prompt and say to explain me as I am 5 year old. It will give you a detailed breakdown. Trust me, if you use this phrase that explain me this as I am 5 year old, it will give you a very very basic level of explanation that this is how this works, this is what it is. Okay. uh I see you also have responded. Mhm. Okay, Sujal. So what the data set that are there is maybe you can prepare your own data set in the format, and it's your format itself. It's not going to be that you have to prepare it for a certain base structure, but you can always have it according to your structure. For example, if you have a certain particular name and it's experience that on this day this is the activity but the person did, on this day this is the activity that person did, and so on and so forth, then you can have that data set itself. And then according to that, you can track the person's behavior, that okay, on the day one, on 10 a.m. he ate his breakfast, but on the 12th of the month, on 9 a.m. he ate the breakfast. So he might be lagging behind, like 9 to 10 a.m. That is the time for his breakfast. That is the optimal time for him. So this is the example for the fitness tracking or these are kind of thing. So you can always have these kind of data, but all the data should be in JSON format, CSV format, or whatever the format that you are uploading. Just make sure that you have all the data sets prepared, and on those lines only you will be able to get the LLM trained, and it will refer to those data sets as a reference, and then it will give you the output. That's what I was meant about the data set. I can go in the project building, but this I wanted to explain you how this AI Studio works. But if you want to build a project, you will have to generate the API key and just follow the instructions. It's that simple. It's not that I'm not willing to do it, but I wanted to explain you how this AI Studio works and how you can prepare an LLM model first, and then you can directly use it. It's not a very hectic task that you will have to go in many particular steps. If you want, I can open the API document and you can have that in front of you, but it's not that hectic for you. You can also use this part as well. I have two more surprises for all of you who are still waiting in the video. So just hold on. Okay, Susan, so you want AI Studio to implement drag and adding pipelines. You are more into AI agents. Okay, I see. What if I tell you that this model can also help you write the codes for you? You just have to chat with it. Mhm. So Vic, so what is the basic difference? Okay. Gemini is a free LLM model where you can go ahead, chat, and have your answers, right? But you do not have any freedom to it, as I explained, and you are also seeing the customized output. But these models that over here are specified in certain roles, right? Gemini is not specified in certain role, but it is particularly a free model. I'm not talking about cost over here with the reference of free. The free model, it means it refers every each and everything, but over here you can narrow it down with the system instructions. So it can act as a code optimizer. It can give you a trip idea. It can give you a game ideas. It can give you certain particular ideation thing. Everything you can do over here. You just need to narrow down everything, whatever particular things that you want, and then you can have it prepared for yourself as per your custom requirements, right? How ChatGPT differs from Meta and Gemini. See, each LLM model have their own benefits, and each one have their own offerings. But I will not say that any model is bad or worse or good or better. I am not referring to anything, but each and every model have its own specified speciality. So you might have heard about Perplexity, right? So that model is more diverse into the research section. If you want certain pages to be referenced, and if you want those things to be taken under consideration while generating a response, then you can use Perplexity. But if you want diverse option, as you can control from temperature, you can always go ahead with ChatGPT, Vertex AI, AI Studio, Gemini. There are multiple options out there that you can use, right? Okay, so Sivansuram, that was the main surprise that I was going to give to all of you. Okay, so how many of you have heard about Project IDX? Just drop in chat yes or no. I will refer to that. I just give you a 1 minute of timer. So I will start now. How many of you have heard Project IDX? Okay, I see partial yes and no, but most I can see no. But okay. Okay, so I will reshare my tab. Just a second. Yeah. So over here, you will see. I will just delete my demo project. I also use that. Yeah. So you can see my screen, right? This is the project IDX that is offered from Google. And if you do not have a system that supports VS Code editor or Atom or any other code editors, and it lags, or you want to build certain projects which you want to share you with your friends without deploying it, then this is your go-to friend that you can always come over here, and you can always build a project. Now, why am I telling you this is, let me demonstrate you certain thing. For example, I will go over here. I will just create a simple HTML page. I will give you will be surprised what this person does, like what IDX gives you. Yeah, Rohan. So project IDX is free. Yeah, I understand that, but that's what I'm going to demonstrate you, that what are you can do over here. Just give it time to load. Okay, so now this page is loaded, right? Now on the bottom right, do you see something named Gemini over here? What if I tell you that this person, this Google Gemini in IDX can code for you? You just need to chat with it. How cool it will be that you just talk to Gemini that write this file, and just have a landing page prepared for me using Bootstrap or Tailwind. How cool will it be that you just tell Gemini to do it and it will do it for you? Let me demonstrate you that now. It will take some time to get the result from Gemini, and then it will give you output at what it is going to do, and then you can just update the file like this, and this is what it did for you directly. And now if you will see, it's already there. I did not write a single code. And yes, you can do everything from here. You can build MongoDB, you can build SQL, you can build Angular. I mean, everything is there. I will just go back IDX, and over here you will see in the template that what its capabilities is, and it's free for everyone. So over here you will see Angular, Next.js, Astro, Servlet, HTML, React. This is for web app. So you will see all of these over here. Then if you go on backend, you have these many things: Golang, Python, Node Express, Python with Django, Laravel, Rust, and everything over here. Everything and everywhere you can use this Gemini to write code for you, and you can always have these many things at your fingertip. For example, you are new to the coding and you do not have prior experience. You can ask this person to write code for you directly. So that was the takeaway that I wanted to give you all, that if you want to build certain project from scratch and you do not have any idea where to start from, or you want to build your own Android app and you do not know Flutter, you can directly chat with Gemini and it will do the work for you. Yes, Deepak. So if you have any project already built, you can directly upload it to IDX in the same pattern. Like if you have React, right? You mentioned. So you can create a template of React, upload your file, then chat with the Gemini, and then you can fix your things. So these are the things that already in the market, and you might be missing out on some of these stuffs. And I also wanted to give you a demonstration of how powerful Gemini, like this AI Studio is. Let me switch back to it. Okay, so you might have heard that this AI Studio is. Yes, Aki. So this is your own playground. It not be accessible from anyone else. Okay, so moving back to AI Studio. So over here, you might have heard about it may process images and videos too, right? You might have heard about that AI Studio is capable of rendering videos and reading throughout the videos and giving out certain summaries. Okay, okay. Then yeah, I will not say anything. So over here, you will see. I will drop a video. Yeah, I have dropped a video of certain small clip that have a animation of it, that a few robbers are robbing a bank, and that is the clip. So now I will just ask this model to give me the number of robbers. I will not play the video or anything. So I will just say that how many robbers are there. If I may play it. So if I just run this is the video, this is my question, right? Let's see how this responds. So there are four robbers. This video was downloaded from YouTube, and I just gave it as a prompt, and it viewed the video for me, and then it gave me the result directly. Now if I ask what was the bank name from where the robbers looted the currency, then the bank was simply named bank. Okay, so these are the things that AI Studio is capable of. You can always go ahead and use as you want, and you can also implement it in your own project as well directly using IDH. That's why I displayed you that many of you may have questions that how to implement this part, this LLM model in my project. Then you can simply build your own project on IDX and directly use it. And if you have any questions, there is Gemini always as a assistant for you to give you. Now, Rohan Singh, yeah. So robots are being built by engineers as well. So let's see. Deepak, yeah. So if you go ahead and start using it, there is one limitations that the token part. If you keep on chatting on the same prompt library that you create over here on the left hand side, you will see I have one library created. So in this particular library, I can only chat with this model till 104,8576 tokens are exhausted. And after that, either I will have to clear the chat, or I will have to create a new LLM, new model with the same instructions and same configuration that I do on the right hand side, the temperature, the tools, and the safety measures. So that is the only limitations, but you will have a customized model for yourself for particular tasks. It may act as a AI agent as well, so who knows? Can you explain a little bit more about what or how was able to do that? So yeah, so when I uploaded a video, it what it did was it extracted the video frame by frame it itself, and you will see 24,460 uh, 86 tokens were used, right? So each and every frame of the video was broken down into pieces, and then what LLM model did is it went from frame to frame all the images, and it then referred to my question that whatever I asked, and then it searched in those frame with those timestamp and everything. Then it gave me the answer. That's what was doing was with the extracting thing. Okay. Okay, sorry for that hiccup. I think the net was frozen. Yeah, I was explaining this. So this was the frame by frame brokerage. So you can always have those videos answered for you. Okay, I think there are no further questions that is related to this. So that's all for this session, and I hope you may have enjoyed it. And we will be ending the session now.
Thank you, Pratik, for such an enriching demonstration and insightful discussion on Google AI Studio. And we truly appreciate your taking the time to guide the participants and viewers joining today through the powerful tools and possibilities within the Gemini era.
Thank you.
Yeah. So before we conclude this session, we understand that all of you would be wondering how you can make the most out of this tech camp and earn some exclusive hack to skill merchandise. Here is your answer. As mentioned in our earlier emails, the quiz will play a crucial role in determining your participation certificate. You will receive an email in few minutes with the link to the quiz challenge, and the form will be open at 1:15, and you will have 45 minutes to answer the multiple choice questions. And to be eligible for the certificate, you must score 60% or above for the certificate. Thank you once again to Pratik for resolving your queries during the session, and a huge thank you to every one of you joining here for being such engaged participants. And don't forget to check your mail. Thank you, everyone.